Well, hello, you're most welcome back. This is your host, Eric. Ladies and gentlemen, I got this pretty basic, crazy idea. Yeah, and this is about as, fresh as it gets. We're just jumping into it. I was a little bit inspired by the Gimli commandant name Magna Alba. And so I thought Magna Fortitudum sounds pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but we can modify that later if it needs. Something with like a large fort. Anyways, so the idea is this. Here you can see we have beautiful turrets and we have a bunch of them. 12 in particular. And these turrets are going to be based on a specific turret, you see. If we zoom in here a little bit, we're going to have a fire timer. We're going to have mostly a plasma build. I want to have some pack sniper. VLMs, it's going to be hovercraft based on propeller. It's going to be a thrust vectoring system, so it's going to be a little bit like versatile and hard to kill. It should be able to start in the water, so it won't die if it falls into the water, basically. And yeah, it's gonna, yeah, you see, it starts flying when it sees an enemy, otherwise it sits in water. So it's gonna be a thing you could use in campaign as well. Just gonna sit and chill. Going to be a little bit efficient there. It's going to be a fuel engine power, and we want to have some passive evasion and a lot of AIs to have a lot of different aim points. So yeah, it's going to target clusters, the plasma, and hot blocks the pack snipers down. So basically, the cool thing with this is then that we're going to have a lot of these plasma turrets. Propellers are going to be here, and here we're going to have some VLM missiles. And up here, we're going to have, that's going to be the meme part, we're going to have our maxed diff gun. We did develop the diff gun that can shoot the largest, most kinetic damage penetrating shell possible in from the depth with Netrameira's shell design. So let's get back in game and build this thing. And the turret I was yapping about is the Delta Corp GMODISM Industries Charged Plasma Slinger Mark 1. It's a very long T5 turret, and the cool thing about it is that it's mostly plasma chambers. It's minimal chargers, so it's going to be able to deal a quick early game alpha damage, basically. So yeah, and then I used, because you probably know from my videos before, I've been talking about the 4-meter offset. It has a 25% health bonus, which is 5% more than the 4-meter metal beam. So we're gonna use some offsets in the design, and yeah, it's gonna be cool. Okay. I'm also using my new duct wells to armor this thing. And yeah, so I'm able to repeat this shape here, as you can see, to construct this thing. We're gonna see how it be. Perhaps we're gonna have 12 turrets. 10 turrets? I don't know, it looks too little. But look at this, like, front side. It's gonna be pretty scary. That's more like it. Now we got our 12 turrets. Nice. Would it be fitting to call this apostles or something? Magna, I don't know. So I'm just having some 7-meter metal ducts here on the front to provide some extra armor. I'm a little bit tempted to use the heavy armor ducts, honestly, but I'm even more tempted to use the... but I feel people will think that's cheesy. And I don't want to throw in like borderline cheese to an established tournament, because like hell will break loose if this would turn out to win the Gimli tournament. I don't think it will, but if it will, someone will yap so much about it being unfair and something if I use my drill armor. Like, I want to use this so much, but also I feel like maybe I should save this for a future project. Gimlet Tourney may be a little bit too sensitive when, you know, this is borderline cheese. The reason why we like drill armor is that this has 50,000 health. So, yeah, this is like 60... Yeah, it's like 60 armor with 50,000 health. So it's like 100,000 health with 60 armor that you need to get through this, which I'm not even sure the maxed out Diffgun will be able to handle that. Yeah, whatever, I think we'll have to skip on that. But what we do want to have, I finally want to use my era. So let's look at our different backstacked era options. This is the mix, metal and alloy. Oh, that's oh yeah, that's that thin era. Yeah, you probably remember from my armor video before that. I think you've seen this in my in a little showcase video. Now this is pretty cool because it's like stackable, and this is like theoretically a complete protection of anything that could be reacted by era, but you're getting the pros of having like lots of armor too. So it's 4-meter beams. And as said, when this goes off, only one era thing is detonated. So that's why it's kind of smart. Yeah, okay. I think this is going to be a little bit too heavy probably to just have like... What's the top seal made out of? That's like alloy. I think we should have the mix. The heavy armor seems a little bit hardcore. It's going to fly after all. So yeah. But yeah, this is something new I developed. You can see that in a little video. I basically found out the shape you could make a repeating pattern of this. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not smart. I thought it was smart, but I'm biased. So let's see here. What angle can we be off at? We don't need to be such... Like, we can just use a little bit more of it. It's just like they are spread out, but it's actually one layer of era only. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about finally using this. For this build, actually, I don't know when I release this video, but for this build, it's gonna be the first time this is actually used in a real scenario. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Is it like, what? There we go. There we go. All right. We just fill in the layers here. Excellent. Isn't that perfect? And now we can cut off the appropriate length. We have 6 on this side, 5 on that side. So we just cut off a layer here. And it's easily sliceable like that. Beautiful. Nice. I was just thinking, what if we like have this crazy wedge in the front? We're just gonna have some metal in front of this. We're gonna have some like anti-kinetic armor and stuff, because this era layer is gonna be pretty anti-kinetic as well. And in front of this, we're just gonna have this long like detonation shield, which is made from offset. It's gonna be pretty min-maxed. It's gonna be pretty min-maxed, man. Look at this. It's just gonna tilt its cute little nose towards the enemy and unload. If you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna be a brutal individual. I think I think it goes long enough down there. I want to have like this like Thanos face or something to it. So we're just gonna have this. Or do I really want it that sharp? Getting second thoughts. This looks stupid. Wait a sec. It's gonna be a taper. It's gonna be a taper. This is where we can finally use the asymmetrical, or I mean the symmetrical copy plane. Isn't that amazing? So we can just paste, copy, paste. That is a nice little wedge face, and yeah, this is gonna deflect a lot of kinetics, I'll tell you that. We're gonna have multiple shields and stuff on that. And inside of here, I am hiding a little piece of thing to defend against what we're using, namely plasma. This is like plasma onion armor, designed to not be killed by our own weapons, plasma, by having just a couple of layers of HP boost wood stuff to just catch some incoming plasma charges, which will melt through this thick block. We'll see how it all pans out, but I really believe in the theory of this. Like, we have this blob shape here in the front that you can see from an angle. It's designed to protect the back of the ship like a shield, catching most of the fire here. It's gonna be aimed towards the enemy like that, so this goes down here a little bit to basically protect some extra surfaces. I just realized that this area is floating. It's no longer. Yeah, but you get what I'm trying to do here, right? It's gonna be nice like this. And actually, I wonder, like, this is also a perfect place of negating some first shots with a tiny little bit of era here in the front, because there are so many designs relying on era, right? No, on relying on armor-piercing railguns. So that's why it's relevant to have some era. I do know we have some era haters, but we have haters for everything in front depth, so whatever. Excellent. By the way, you're all very welcome to suggest name suggestions in the comments. Yeah, I was thinking perhaps I just googled what a war club would be in Latin, and what I could find is clava. So we could combine that with clava magna, or magna clava. Clava magna, I think. Because it looks a little bit like a wooden war club or something. Yeah, I don't know. Post your suggestions, okay? Alright, I'm getting ahead of myself here in building. Okay, so here is what we got. We start to fix the general outline of the shape. I decided to build a little template of a double propeller with, like, not terrible efficiency, not good either, but thinking we should stick these regularly along the side of it to kind of fix the stabilization. And I looked a little bit at how propellers work, and they do get get limited. If you just look at this, you can see the clearance is 25%, and that's because we have a thing above here. They need full clearance. If we remove this here, we should get the higher clearance here. Up to 50%, is it, or something, for this one below, because it has, you know, it's completely open downwards, So they need to be completely exposed in order to get full lift, and that will leave a lot of holes into the design. So for practical reasons, we're gonna have to get some custom jet engines, honestly, for some of the roll lift. Not like all of the roll lift, but some of it. Fortunately, I got some new prefabs, which we can use, like this little, these little dead-ended auxiliary thrust. We have main thrust. That's long, man. Wow. I built like the most insane templates, man, for like really large projects. Gotta make a lot of large projects then, so they are actually useful. Yeah. We're gonna use some CGEs. Here you have a fat cluster of lift, if you ever saw one. It's gonna be like the main battery to provide upwards lift force. Of course, we're gonna add a lot more weight back here, but I just wanted to offset the current mass center. We're gonna see where the mass center is gonna end up. But you know, one thing I desperately want to add, I'm pretty done for today. This like recording and building will be over multiple days, if not weeks, of course. But I'm pretty done for today, and I want to end off on a high note. We need to go to the APS, the diff, and select the, here is it, Army of GMODISM Lancea Dominus, APS rail assisted M4XP3N max pen, 497mm deck gun. We're gonna slap down this here in the middle. Let's see here. There is where we can have it. Is this gonna look good? Is this gonna work? I think it will. There we have it. The Lancea Dominus. It's gonna have a little bit higher idle angle. Just like this. So this is it only fires 5 shots, unfortunately. It doesn't really pay for itself, you know, but that is the maximum damage kinetic shell you can have in from the depth. And as per our not imperial testing, I always mix it up, empirical testing, yeah. We found out that shell here, and you know, it's too much space for a diff gun, but it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. So we're gonna have that there. I want to have at least one ship that is large that uses it. I want to make a smaller ship that's gonna use it in the future too. That will look really stupid, but at least a battleship type should have it. Well, that's it for today, but the video continues on until this is done, basically. Yeah, unnecessary information. Alright, as you can see, I have fixed this little propeller thing so that it looks nicer. What the hell? And that's very nice. So now we can finally basically copy and paste this section. So it looked a little bit sadder, but now it looks nicer. And I just thought to retain the side thrusters, because this will be very nice for strafing left and right, which will be, well, not something that's super important, but it will be a nice maneuver to be having, you know. So we're just gonna copy and basically extend this line down to like for the length of the ship. These propellers will not provide the best lift, but they will provide some lift. So these will be essential of getting out of the water, of course. It's gonna start in the water and then it's just gonna vibe or something. I don't know. I'm thinking, however, perhaps we should elevate some of these. Or actually not. I think it looks pretty cool when they go in a straight line like this. So that's gonna be it. It's gonna go in a straight line like this, and then it's gonna end here, or the one before it. How many do we have now? 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 is pretty nice because we do have 12 turrets, so it makes sense that we have 12 on each side, right? I think that looks, it adds a type of symmetry, right? All right then, well, now we're just trying to integrate the, well, exhaust or the thrusters in the front here. I'm thinking perhaps we should copy this section over to a place further in the back later on, perhaps, or we should do some own other like a custom setup of thrusters there. I don't know. These are somewhat expensive, I believe, but they do provide a good bit of thrust. These are like extremely heavy thrusters, right? Of course, they only work in water, so they are to be seen as auxiliary, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Some of these internal propellers we might want to add as well. And this I did before. I just placed a couple of these nice bristleback propellers here. I think we're gonna have some under the structure here and there as well. I have a design for a while. The transition between these blocks, like here, and I wanted to not have like a smooth transition to the slope, right? I just wanted to have like a tiny bit of plateau, and I think I'm gonna go with this type of pattern. It's like this, go square there. Yeah, this will be perfect. And then we're just gonna have the slope going up to there. And then we have this little part as a very small plateau-ish thing, so they look like they're connected in some way. I think that will be fine. So that will be that, but we need to think a little bit on how it's gonna work with all of the edges, because of course this line only goes up to like this level. Yeah, we can only do this to this level to get the smooth shape. Then we'll need to have a more steep, but I think it's gonna be solvable with the transition offsets, maybe. We're just gonna outline the shape we can at this point, just the first little bit of slope there, because I feel I want that line to be constant throughout the design like that, and then we're gonna solve the transition part later, if possible. The annoying thing with transitions is that sometimes it's not possible to solve later, but whatever, we'll see. We'll see what we're gonna do with that. And thank you, the person, I don't remember your name, but somebody taught me that you don't need to click the X. You can go in a menu and you can just right click at an empty place and you go back. That's so handy. I don't remember who of you in the YouTube comments it was now, but that little tip, you know, there is always something new you can learn from the depth. It's crazy. But thanks for that tip. It has been very helpful so far. I think we're just gonna have like a alloy-backed metal sheet part here. This place isn't really meant to take assault. It's basically just there to, I don't know, like hopefully catch some frags, some free-flowing frags and stuff like that. That's like what this layer is for. We'll see, of course. We'll may need to change that in the future if it turns out to be too weak. But until we know that it is too weak, we are going to think it is strong enough. Wait, can't I? No, I can't. Now we get to this little annoying section where it's like, where you get like a bit annoying transitions to solve. Like, it's gonna be hard, man. I really miss some blocks. There's a lot of blocks I feel I'm missing. Like 15 minutes later, I found something like that will work. We'll just need to remove more of the transitions, and then we can kind of get a shape that works, right? Using some regular slopes. Now I put on this weird viewing mode to be able to see a bit better. It's smart tricks you can do. Well, this part of the hull is definitely taking shape. Just like that. So yeah, I'm gonna continue and shape some here off the mic, and I'll be coming back when I got some results. Like, I'll need to think a little bit on how to solve this. So I have decided to just do a smooth shape and then a hard edge. That's not very descriptive, but anyways, so we kind of retain this nice little staircase thing. So we're gonna build the superstructure on that. I have decided to move the maxed out diff gun. I don't think we're gonna have it on top. I think we may have superstructure, and we may put a gun, one on each side actually. Perhaps. I haven't decided completely yet, but so that was a lie. Yes, anyways. I decided to add this little diamond shape thing here to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. We're gonna see how it looks in all colors, taking them back. I think I like that. I think I do. I want to play around with the idea of having the giant diff guns to the sides here. So we have to basically remove the half of the diamond shape here and make a kind of extended platform looking thing. So that we are gonna do now. Alright, we made some hardpoint style mounts to the sides here. So I think we should go and get this turret and see if it works. Let's see here. Lancia Dominus. This is one hell of an overpriced APS. This system is not good. It's super expensive. But it looks kind of cool. Alright. So if we just pause the game and take a look at it, will this work? I think it looks pretty badass, if I can say so myself. Perhaps we need to put it on a bit of a elevated mount thing, like a cylinder type extension thing. I don't know. I think so. But the placement in general, I think this is gonna work, and we can remove the one on top and have a nice superstructure on there instead. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a new day, and we're working on the little thing. So in any case, I have, as I did talk a little bit about before, installed this on a nice little mount instead. So I think it looks pretty neat now. We also have copied over this little section, as you will remember, that we have thrusters there, and now we have some custom jet engines back here, thrusters as well. Now I've also managed to put in some ammunition things. So we have a reasonable amount of ammo, and we have a reasonable amount of engine power. And we basically put a little bit of energy and a little bit of fuel and a little bit of ammo in each of these little tiny sections, some materials, you know, stuff like that, kind of spreading them out a little bit. I decided to fill these areas back here with like fuel and ammo, but in a secure-ish way. We got some satellite not connected to anything, batteries back here for some power. And we have engines behind each of the turret here. We have an exhaustless engine over there. Then I put the really large battleship engine here in multiple stages. I think you've seen videos with that. I showed it before at least, but it was some time ago, which will go backwards here for the exhaust, as well as some auxiliary injectors going down here, producing a neat little bit of power. Because we are going to try and design particle cannons as like extra weapons for this thing, so that is that's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm sure it will be fun. I really want to see some packs fighting here in this From the Depth game. Anyways, while we think of this, how exactly we're gonna put the pack cannons, I feel it's time to start closing off the shape here. We do want to taper up the back side here because we don't want the backmost side to be hit. It is gonna tilt forward slightly. So I think if it sticks out too long, that could be an issue. So we're just going to taper it up a little bit. And I think that's going to look pretty nice with a general shape as well. And there I think we're starting to get a pretty nice shape. I'm going to fill this in with some armor of some kind. Let's see what we're going to have here too. We're not going to have too much weapons except missiles in the back, VLMs, but yeah. I must say this gives the ship a better harmony though, having that little upward angle in the back and little forward angle in the front. Alright, I'm kind of wanting to just continue this shape like that, so we can get to the top level here where we basically will have some superstructure, I think. So just a little bit quickly, I copied over it from the underside and made it like this. And I think from this little back section we are going to have some missile launchers. I'm also thinking about where we should add the packs. Haven't really gotten a good place to add the packs yet, but well, if we just continue doing the shape a little bit here, I'm sure the location will reveal itself, maybe. Well, I think it's taking shape, but it's kind of a little hard place when you're trying to make the shape go together. That is, well, I think at least one of the hardest parts. Oh yeah, we shouldn't forget forward propulsion. So I'm going to slope this back here a little bit. Kind of meet to a type of thruster thing. Yeah. I'm gonna do a last little taper section back here. And then we're gonna have thrusters that will, well, give us some nice forward propulsion so we can make it pretty fast. Then I also want to put good, really turning thrusters here, like some massive thrusters sideways. And of course, in this slope section, I think we should have the like side large missiles. Before I thought maybe we should have vertical launch missiles going up and down, but I think left and right will be better. We don't expect to be shot a lot back here, so we are insulating or like sturdying it up with wood back here. Yeah, that should be enough. I want this little chrome finish here to the visual part of the thruster. So we're really just making a little extended thruster thing, and we're gonna fit the thrusters inside of there in some type of nice way. We'll see. a pretty basic sturdy chrome thruster. Or we don't need to be a barbarian about it. We should probably just... These are like details I think that matters. Just smoothing out things a tiny little bit more makes a lot of the difference. Right, so here we have some nice exhaust ports for the to-be turning thrusters. Let us see if we can find a nice little prefab for this. Yeah, I think this, what is it, 150k thrust thing will work fine. So I'm just gonna clear out some space here so we can paste them in. Something like that. Now we have 2 of them per side, very nice. And we're just gonna set them to automatic, I think, because automatic... I generally don't like the automatic setting, but the automatic setting can be pretty handy when you want redundancy. So, for example, if we get damaged, it kind of automatically adapts to maneuverability. So automatic can be pretty useful actually for aircrafts like this one. For ships though, setting them up manual is of course best. And for very finicky aircraft with not very many like redundant parts, it's better to set them up also manually. Because if like a thruster or whatever gets shot off, it's game over anyways. But for this thing, it needs to have redundancy, so we're going automatic. I'm taking wood here and putting a really like dark material or dark texture on it. Paint, I mean. What game am I talking about? Certainly not From the Depth. Yeah, so I'm putting this dark paint on, making it matte to kind of make this little nice type of finish. I'm thinking it looks like, I don't know what that's called, but a proper thruster cone. And then we don't need to fill the space with like thrusters because that would look super weird. Also, but this is a lot cheaper as well. So that's like a bonus. Just like that. And then we can kind of build from within this space to put some thrusters here. So we have 6 big forwards facing thrusters like this. And then behind these little things, we're just gonna have some like normal jet engines back there to fill out the space and of course give some extra thrust. I think this should look pretty decent. So we're just gonna fill this out. We don't really expect to be shot from back here. Like a little fire we will get, of course, but like the ship is really built to face the enemies, so we shouldn't really expect so much fire from here. If we get a lot of fire here, we have probably very big problems. I think it's more likely that if we meet a really smaller enemy, if we use this in campaign or something, then, you know, this little distance keeping area shield thing will keep away the small missiles and fragments from crams and whatever that could reach us. Now, these are a little bit funny. I have in my prefabs some fuel, but for this particular design, I think maybe it's a little bit risky to have it here. So I'm just gonna remove that. And we're gonna put in some interior armor here to not make them all go off at once in case we had the, as said, unlucky shot coming from behind or something like that. Beautifully walled and sectioned off, just like that. I think it looks pretty nice actually. This is a neat little setup, a neat little thruster pack in the back. And we're gonna keep these automatic as well. I'm considering to make sure the thruster exhausts are lined up to all the same, like all of them are lined up to the same direction, and possibly fix a nice thrust vectoring system. Right now, I feel like I don't want to, but I'll probably do that later. And just like that. I love these prefab jet engines. They are just so nice because they are... We have the input, like the air in and air out at the same place, so they're really easy to work with. Nice. That is nice and all, but I think we actually should now do some testing because I want to have pack cannon secondaries. How are our budget doing? Yeah, packs are expensive, but I want some smaller packs. And I did some drawings on how kind of I would like some packs to look like. And I'm thinking some pretty compact type of pack thing with a long range lens. Yeah, we want some long range lenses. Let's actually just dive into particle cannons and check them out a little bit. We have the long range lens, and we then have the vertical lens, which is fine too. Scatter lens, yeah, multiple beams. So at the very I don't know, scatter lens. Just to get some data here, we can look at this thing. So we're gonna do pretty long distance. So at like 2 kilometer range, we have 67% damage. All right. And for this with 2 kilometer range, we have 44% damage. And this with 60 kilometer range, no, with 2 kilometer range, we have 44%. Yeah, so to me, this tells me that for this particular place, we really need to use the big lens, the long range lens, because we are gonna have a long range packer. I want to do a pretty small or compact pack cannon in some way. So we're gonna see how that will pan out, but yeah. So I basically want to see how short of a system we can get away with to like how small we can make the pack system, because we want several of them and they can't be too expensive. So this test is just to check around a little bit with charge time and stuff like that. Take that to the lowest, and we are going to activate the build platform. Or the podium. Okay, so we can just line up the lens like this and set this to 5 maybe. Maybe it's like 3 since the lens is pretty like large. Yeah, I did my math almost correctly. 4, oh yeah, of course, 4 it is. Well, in any case, we're going to test different sizes and different values and see how long we can make the arm. We're gonna make it be a pierce weapon. And let's test this thing. Bam. Oh, that's so weak. That is so weak. So this is too little for this charge time. I can tell you that much. Oh man, packs are so expensive. We can't probably have too many of these. Yeah. Well, okay, so I'm thinking we should... Right, we double the arm. So we make them like pretty long. We can double the snake. And I think we should actually make a little loop thing so that the pack will have a like back input thing like this. So, oh no, this one goes right behind it. Never mind. We do that later, okay? Just gonna slap on some of these and try it again. With this amount, we can punch through like the base layer. Oh, but it's pretty depressing. What if we like put it to 30 seconds load time? When we're using small packs, this is perhaps what we need to use. We can just reload all. Bam. Okay, this works. This works. This will punch through most things we would like to target. Yeah, right. So 5 to 6 sections per arm should be enough. Then I want to make it a vertical type turret. So I'm just going to awkwardly take this lens, put it to the front, tilt it to the side. So I think this is kind of the way we can build it with 5 to 6. Right. Do you remember that for me? That won't help. Something like this, maybe? Alright. Switch this back to piers. And well, we can just do like this. No, sorry. Like this. We can just test it here. Oh my, oh yeah, right. It's a little bit annoying when you test packs like this for the first time. For the cannon, you need to kind of manually aim it, otherwise it doesn't know where to shoot. I don't know, it's really weird. Oh yeah, that charging time won't do it. Put it to 30. Now we can do a little test there. Oh no. Alright. Let's reload all and try again. Something like that. Right, and now we pierce through, like, this is about how much heavily armored, like 2 million battleships usually have as armor. This is a little bit over the top, so yeah. It's gonna aim towards hot blocks as well, so it is 2 snipe turrets and stuff. Will this be good? I hope so. Oh yeah, now we kind of deal 80% of the damage at 2 kilometer range. That's nice. So we are definitely having a pretty compact system. We could possibly make it... It's only 13k right now, so I may consider changing the Tetris a little bit here to fit in some more channels. But also, they kind of have a pretty low risk of, like... Yeah, I don't know. This is a pretty redundant system, and the arms are not really out to kill each other too easily, I think, so... This is probably a good setup. I should be happy with this. It is already 13,000 materials because pack is expensive. So I'm probably just gonna armor this up a little bit. It's gonna be a 3x3 turret. So it's not gonna be heavily armored, only from one side basically. But yeah, I think that's how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be very easy to use this turret. Or actually, I think we're gonna make it a 5x5 turret because it's so crazily expensive with pack, you know. Alright, so the GI Sharpshooter Long Ranger is the final turret. It looks like this. It's not beautiful, but it's a pretty classical pack cannon. And we are having a 30-second reload, 0% overclocking, and well, they are set up by default to piercing. And what I have done, I've done a lot. I have installed a few of these, as you can see there. Then a couple down below here. And then a couple on top of there. So now we have the pack cannons packing. I also added the AI compartment. So here is a little AI compartment, which is the regular mice core in my, you know, prefab files. It's one of those. So here is the mice core set up in here. And that's like the main targeting thing. We're having the missiles as well. I decided it's going to be laser controlled, laser guided missiles. We have outsourced some general processing power all over the place to keep it reasonable. And then I've added targeting computers. So here we have a targeting computer, and there we have another targeting computer, and they're basically set up. We have 6 AI cores, so we have between the turrets here all the way down here. We have another, and they are just set up to target at different aim points at the same time, because we want to spread out that alpha plasma blast. I added some local weapon controllers as a secondary AI. In case the AI that controls them gets blown up, they default back to the mice core AI back here in pink. So that's kind of the general gist of it. I have also added on the turrets onboard detection on the left ones to the left, and on the right ones to the right I added missile laser pointer thing, so that the laser guided missiles will have different options to follow. So they are set up to my vehicle's missiles, display while active. Alright, I think that's that, and then I've also started to configure the thrusters a little bit, and back here you can see we have also set up some backwards jet engines like that, because I realized when I spawned in a Meg just to see how it was doing or behaving with my well, temporary AI configuration, then I realized I have no backwards. How to do now? Yeah, and that's basically that. Alright, so I have decided we need to replace these inner wooden shields with metal. And the easiest way to do that is to paint them in whatever color we want. So this is like in the nose. Yeah, the blast shield, so to say. And the easiest way to do this is actually to go into blueprint. No, it moved. It's from in the. It moved like years ago, but whatever. Inside of here, change from wood, and we're gonna select the purple color, and we're gonna switch it to metal and keep color. And we're just gonna click refit, and there we have it. They are now metal. Isn't that very nice? Yeah, I think I'm gonna sturdy up the interior part here a little bit, just with a tiny little bit of alloy, just like that. And now is the real consideration here. So we have some issues. These are our main gun turrets, and let me demonstrate the issues. All of these turrets are set up to target different areas and whatever, and I have upgraded the turrets, you know. They were a little bit too slow, so they are now a lot faster. They shoot at 2,400 meters per second, and they they throw away a charge of 150 charges per thing, you know. So when they come in here, they really do a lot of damage against a heavily targeted, heavily armored target like the Megalodon. Now, there is a little issue, however, and that's of course that the Megalodon needs a little bit more than... What is the total? Is it like 24 shots or something to go down? And when we shot our 2 rounds, like they threw 2 rounds at the enemy and then they will like reload forever. So we have our packs doing the rest of the damage here. They're really trying to take it out, but it's too little damage per second. The charge we have stored it's simply not enough. So we need to replace these turrets. I tried to upgrade them, but it's just not enough. We need to replace them. By the way, this is the earlier turret you can see here. And this is the... I saved it down as a Mark II. Just a little upgrade, but mostly in the settings, but whatever. We need to make a new turret. So, just to compare them so you can see like the difference. They have the same charges. It's basically, this is faster, the shell is faster, and they have different configurations. But when we fire them, they do like that, you know. I hope you could see that. So this variant here and this variant here, they are both out of ammunition now. This one ended up dealing more damage interiorly because it, you know, penetrated. But in a real world scenario, this blast is pretty amazing. I think I'm gonna show you on the Reddit armor, so it perhaps makes a little bit more sense. You can watch it in slow motion here. So to the right is the Mark II, much bigger blast. Oh no, I know what. This isn't set up with original. I changed it when building stuff. It was set up to 30. So I don't know why I tried to convince myself that the results were different, because I know they should be different. But let's try this again. That's a big blast, and here to the left we have the Mark I. So that is a faster blast. If you just speed up time here. It kind of continues on to fire its 10 blasts, and of course that's great in a testing scenario like this, but you could see these really big blasts really making a huge mess in the early stages. So I have actually already completed the turret. This is the Scorpion, the new turret we are having for the plasma. It has the same height and width. It does come with a bit more armor because plasma parts are pretty expensive. And yeah, this is not a charged plasma turret. It's more of a DPS turret. It only has 74 charges, but reloads a lot quicker. And it fires a burst of 2. I can slow down the shot a little bit for you so you can see how nice it looks when they come in. Bam, bam. We have 2 shots, bang, bang, like that, coming in quick succession. Now, they look a lot more spaced out when we shoot them at max accelerator speed. And that's something we want to do, because if we don't shoot them at max accelerator speed, and you can see it looks like they're further apart, but that's because they are further apart in distance, but they are fired with the same RPM, so they will hit the enemy in like the same succession, like ba-bam. It's just that each of the shell goes faster, so the distance between the shots are longer. But we really need to keep them really quick, because otherwise they will simply not hit the enemy. Well, I'm gonna try and install this turret. I hope it will fit. Shoot. Will it fit? Well, I guess we will see. So this is the Scorpion. It is about twice as expensive, so it's gonna be interesting to see how we're gonna do with the budget. Ooh, we might need to config that. Yeah, okay. Okay. There we go. So I didn't do much. I just, you know, made this a little bit simpler. Right. So it's time to replace these turrets. And they are set up to different channels. They are set up to channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. How many AIs do I have? I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're set. Yeah, okay, nice. It's clear to me that this little ridge thing in the front. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we'll just have to add some decopium to that. That little detail. Oh, well, look at that. Okay, so now we have to do like that. Untethered, only 4. That sounds like the right number. Beautiful. Now they can see. Right. So let's remove some turrets, shall we? Turret 1 axis. Yeah, I'm just gonna remove them. Look. Yep. Oh. And only one left. There we go. Right. Plasma Stinger. I hope you will fit. Otherwise, we'll have issues. But let's just pretend it will fit all right. Just like that. And they are as flat too, so they should be able to shoot over each other. Otherwise, they will kill each other very much. Oh, very nice. There we have it. What's our cost? Ooh, oh no. One more. Säg inte hej när jag hoppar i bäcken. Okay, there we are. Beautiful. We are not over cost, and that's because I forgot one, right? No, they're not that expensive. I was just a little bit scared that we would go over budget because plasma is so expensive, but we did not. It's awful unrendering. So now we have a new set of plasma turrets. Ain't that beautiful? Bam. What do you like? What do you like about that? Having some... I didn't hit anything, did I? Yeah, well, so let's add some decopium, shall we? Is this it? Okay, apparently. Something like that. No word clipping, good. Copy all, paste all, then we can just cover up our sins. And there we go. Isn't that amazing? We added new turrets and they can turn somewhat. Beautiful. I've also realized that these back plasma turrets basically, that's not plasma, pack turrets basically never get a good aim at the enemy. So, which makes them useless. So they will have to be removed. And that's not harder than that, basically. Just... ta-da! Remove you. I just hate that unrender vehicle when you're aiming. I know you can fix that, remove that, like, setting, but I don't want it on by default. Actually, if you don't know how to do that, let me show you how. You have to have a numpad, so you can go into the, what is it, the numbers thing. Yeah. With numpad 8, you basically get into this area, which is the camera thing. If you don't have a numpad, well, I don't know. So, what we do? Disabled, no firing mode adjustments. That's how you fix that. And now when we aim, shit is not getting unrendered. Beautiful. You know, you're welcome. And yeah. So what I wanted to say before, before I thought maybe we should have missiles, but I feel the Fafnir does the missile thing. It has so many missiles, and I'm very tired about configuring missiles. And I have this Imperial Long Tom rotary cram cannon. So I don't know exactly where I'm gonna place this. I'm thinking kinda here or something. But how expensive is the Long Tom? It's only 100,000 materials, which is a lot, but I think it's gonna work. You know what? We're gonna see exactly where we're gonna place it a bit later. But I actually think we're gonna have the Imperial Long Tom as a underslung cram cannon to really boost that alpha damage. All right, good news. I added the schlong. I mean the Long Tom. This is the rotary cram cannon system added here. I added a nice little thing to make it aerodynamic. It looks absolutely stupid, but it's funny. And I feel it goes well together with our meme APS cannon, that we have kind of a meme cram cannon that just deals insane alpha damage for the fun of it. Anyways, what I also have added is these nice little wing things. And they are not any wing things. They are the Red Dwarf plasma system with some decoys on the side. This is a charge plasma system which has 200 charge shots. They shoot 3 of them. And it's basically a charge plasma system, so it's a few loaders like that. And so they are mostly there for alpha damage, you know. They are also set up with a breadboard, like, in my case, it's more like bullshit board. Can you, like, cooperate? Okay. So when we spot the target, we have the countdown timer. Then we have an extra countdown timer to make this Red Dwarf system extra slow. And then I also added some smart thing that makes the the packs be overclocked for the first round, and then they switch over after a while to normal overclocking. Well, anyways. Yeah, I think that's what I remembered. Anyways, when... my breadboard is very interesting. Anyways, when we have shot the 3 rounds of 200 charges from the Red Dwarf systems here at the tips, they will switch over to a 30 charge plasma rounds instead, so they can kind of keep up a low damage, basically not being useless later on. Then I also added small big missiles. This is the large missiles, and it's a simple... wait, what? Oh, they are messed up. Okay, never mind. I'll need to find the original missile, which is this one. Copy to all launch pads. So this is a radar. This is just a radar missile seeker with prediction guidance, and it has a variable thruster, and it yeah, it's not more difficult than a kinetic missile that's radar guided. And that's of course because when we have enemies having a lot of their budget on CWIS systems, it's important we make sure the enemy uses their CWIS systems and waste all that ammo. So this is gonna go, like, I'm gonna test it and stuff. It needs to win over the Gimli, I feel like. And that's why we, like the Drakenslang Mark III, for example, doesn't have CWIS system. So in that case, these would be useless if they were only tricking the CWIS. Like the Fafnir has this crams that trick the CWIS system, but here we actually have these guys tricking the CWIS system. And if you don't shoot them down, they will deal damage, which is the good part. And they keep the CWIS busy. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. And the Gimli has a lot of CWIS as well, so does the Fafnir, and then I wanted them to be busy shooting at these being launched every three seconds. Yeah. One big thing that I also added is a shield. Ladies and gentlemen, look at my beautiful little shield. We are actually doing planar shields instead of projector shields. So, my ladies and gentlemen, you can see the armor class of this here and this here. If we go to the front, like this shield is only for back and forth, but the armor class of the earliest little thin metal is 62. So it's higher than a single sheet of heavy armor, which is nice. And this should of course help a lot with explosive damage and stuff like that. You can see here it's armor class. That's not right. How is this only 40? This is inaccurate. Oh, never mind. It's accurate. It's only for the first like surface, and whatever surface it meets it will kind of you know, tick up, stuff like that. Anyways, it boosts the armor class of everything with like 11.7, which is nice. Yeah, that's the shield we're gonna have. One less good thing is, however, that we are closing in on we passed 2 million, and this is clearly probably gonna be a 2.2 million ship, so yeah, but that's okay too. Alright, so now we should be continuing here with basically covering up some shapes. So what we need to do is basically, well, you can see areas like this. We of course need to section things off and just fill up areas. Like these are easy parts. We need to make sure we don't have any exhausts that get blocked. I think we're gonna go through all of the engines later on to make sure that none of them are blocked. Then we of course need to fill up this thing. This is gonna take a little bit longer. So I'm not gonna do that on screen. What we are going to do as well, I think we have some budget left, not very much budget, but I feel like maybe we could have some type of lamps array here, perhaps. Like not the big lamps, maybe just a small lamp system. Something like that to take out when we have... Like if it meets something like the broadsword or stuff like that with a lot of kinetics that are easy to shoot down, it can be nice to have some DPS against the incoming munitions. Well, that's the thought at least. That's the idea. Anyways, I think other than that, we need to of course cover up this area. This is gonna be a quite challenging... Yeah, here we're gonna spin our brain cells a little bit and try to do a nice little fill-in. Now, when we did some limited combat tests, like, I don't know, I have noticed that it just has absolute problems maneuvering. You can see that the thrusters are basically firing so that they get blocked, so to say. It's pretty crappy. We're really not using the engine power to its fullest capacity. I think we'll have to go through all of these thrusters here and manually make them be turner preset as well as pusher preset, like that. You can just copy and paste that over so we can have it on all of the thrusters. Now that's a tedious task, but I think we need to do it for basically all of the thrusters. Except these guys, they can be nice to have adaptable so that they do whatever they need to do, and you know, it's gonna be hard to set them up otherwise, because when we get damaged our center of mass may change anyways. But I can clearly see that our side thrusters and stuff like that is a little bit weak. By the way, our turning capabilities are acceptable, but not really good. I think we need to add a thruster, maybe under it, down below here. A custom jet engine thruster. because it's more aligned with the center of mass of the vehicle, which is a much more optimal position. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do some of that offline while I listen to some music that's very copyright. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. You can see we have thrusters. Are these new? I think I added them before. Anyways, we have new thrusters. I even added a little cute thruster out here, as well as our LAMS node. We don't have the biggest LAMS system. We have a pretty limited LAMS system. Somehow I removed that part, but it's now added back, but whatever. We have thrusters here. I added a nice little hidden thruster out here, and it's massive, 29,000 thrust this one provides. Or is that? Is that? Yeah, that's 290,000. I mean, it's a big thruster. Yeah, it's a very big thruster full of injectors and stuff, and we have one on each side, so we have really good jaw movement. Now I added some extra pictures there, extra little thruster out there. And what more? Well, we did the shapes. You can see we have clean shapes here, clean shapes here. It's going smooth together, and somehow I managed to pull this off with a little use of decos, but just a little bit use of decos. You know, you can't literally make this angle. So that's, yeah, game limitations, you know. But fortunately we have decos for that. I added some extra detection and stuff like that and fixed the thrusters so that we are now much more maneuverable. I can show it to you by just spawning in a megalodon here on our sides, and it's going to spin rather quickly to face the Meg. Now the turrets may fire before that. I hope that's not self-inflicted damage. We'll have to check that later. It's not like all set up for battle or anything like that. It's just, you know how it is. But here we have it. It's looking nice, closing in on the target, and then we should keep our distance with the backwards thrusters activating, making us not go too close. And I found a cool little AI setting here, left-right evasion time, which basically makes it go side to side, I believe. I don't know if... I probably just missed that part of the AI before. It's a pretty complex game, it's easy to miss details, but that's basically AI built-in evasion, which is pretty cool. I think I'm gonna have an up and down bobbing thing going for the evasion that way too. So we have double, both side to side and up and down evasion. I think that's gonna be pretty nice. Yeah, well, the lambs aren't doing as much as I may have hoped they would do. Maybe I should set them up to basically prioritize tiny stuff that they can actually take out. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically that. I also turned off the thing that made the packs not be overclocked after a while, because it turns out we have enough engine or like energy production to actually continuously output them on max overclock, so we might as well do that for the packs. I also removed 2 packs, as you know from before, since they kind of are blocked by the massive cram cannon that, well, perhaps isn't doing much, but whatever. Anyways, that is where we are at, and you can see we are doing a pretty good job taking out the Megalodon. Isn't the most scary threat ever, of course, but before, in earlier iterations when I spawned in the Meg, we got absolutely obliterated, so it's an improvement. I kind of doubt this will beat the Gimle though by this point, but I'll see what I can do. Maybe we'll have to remove the rotary cram cannon, I don't know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to create a bit of a superstructure. And I have finally decided that I think I want, or I've just decided, the superstructure on this ship is gonna be sort of the Ecclesiarch style. And if you don't know what that is, we participated in a basically risk in from the depth, but over Discord. That was called Prometheum Directive. So we participated in that, well, that is its own sub-style of the Army of GMODISM. The Sword of the Ecclesiarch is a specific task force by the Ecclesiarchy, which is the YouTube members, basically. Which is sent out by basically me as highest command, sending out them to do special force things, basically special operations. And I felt I want to have a sort of the Ecclesiarch style, like a Metropolis style cathedral thing here on top of it. That's gonna be the superstructure. So I'm gonna go in to our beautiful little prefabs here, and they are indeed we can find them here over at like superstructure, and yeah, over at that we have AOG SOTE is sort of the Ecclesiarch. We have all beautiful things built by all of the members of the Ecclesiarchy that were participating in the Prometheum Directive, which is Witch Doctor, we have Robostellar, we have Graver, and we have some extra things from other people, and me, of course. But in any case, I'm gonna do that. There aren't any fun way to showcase the building process of that, basically. So here we are, a day's worth of work, basically. Not really. But I did some, or kind of, but that's because there is work you don't see as well. But here we have it, the little chapel structure. I added some diff guns here as well, just for the vibes. And inside of here, we can pause the game, so you can check it out here. We have sort of the Ecclesiarch style, and we have a little... I guess this is gonna be a kind of... corrector facility, so we can send this out to correct any errors with our surgical plasma knives to clean the empire of I don't know, harmful elements or dissidents, traitors, or what do you have. But in any case, I think this looks pretty cool. Beautiful sort of the Ecclesiarch style, with lots of beautiful assets built by all of our aforementioned members. In any case, I also did some cool things. We're basically 2.2 million now, but I made it bob up and down when in combat mode. Let us spawn a Megalodon, just so you can watch it a little bit here. You can see it kind of bobs up and down like this. Oh, I added diff guns to the side here as well. Isn't this beautiful? Like that. Beautiful. We have the Triune from the GMODISM Industries. And there we have our beautiful little cram cannon. It may go a little too low. I guess we can fix that later. Yeah, we need to test this against some different enemies. But you can see it's pretty neat. Having our diff guns here as well give us some initial firepower, which is good, of course. I think it looks pretty cool. It really fits with this cathedral on top of it. I think it really fits like a Sword of the Ecclesiarch build. I am sorry, now I'm moving away the camera. Anyways, it looks like a sword of sorts. If you see this gray area as the would-be handle, it kind of looks like a sword. And I added some type of weird docking station here, so I imagine you kind of want to have airships and stuff landing, so you can kind of fasten them on the back here. If you want to board a ship with, I don't know, combatants or something like that. Well, you can see it's doing a pretty good job, but I found a really worrying stat. The firepower is, is only 700, which is absolutely abysmal. That's the lowest firepower so far. And I don't think we can get away with this low firepower. I am also starting to think that this particular schlong isn't really gonna cut it. It just doesn't deal enough damage, I feel like. We should test it against the Gimli as well, just to gather some more data. But I think we'll have to replace the schlong here with a real weapon. These still remain, but they are also meme weapons, basically. I mean, I should possibly remove them if I want to have something that actually performs better. This is the maximum amount of kinetic damage you can deal with an APS weapon. It's a def gun, so yeah, that costs 70,000 almost, so... Who builds a diff gun that costs 70,000? It makes absolutely no sense, I'll tell you that. But it's cool, I mean, it's cool. Alright, I guess we need to try and remove these things and see how much materials we get back. I kinda think they're funny, but man, if they're gonna make the ship practically have so worthless firepower, it's not even funny. Like, at the end of the day, it also is supposed to pose a fight. Like, if it can't even handle a fight, it's probably not worth it. I don't know, man. What do you think? We kind of saved almost 300,000 materials. I really feel I think we have to have that as a weapon system. I wanted to have a funny cram barrage on this thing, but it also kind of defeats the purpose of having a fast shooting plasma and pack ship. Like, this was built to counter stuff like that. And if I build a ton of cram shit on this, we're basically defeating the purpose, man. Also, I'm kind of feeling that we should probably have a little bit of heavy armor in the front. I'm gonna do like this. I'm gonna replace some pieces in the front here with heavy armor, and we're gonna see how much that increases the cost, because these parts here in the front really take a lot of damage, and I think perhaps we're gonna survive a lot longer if we can make this heavy armor instead in some parts. But just not the entire thing, of course, just some small portions. Like on the sides here, it's also unnecessary. We really want it to the center of the pieces. Something like that, I think, will be with this color, perhaps. Yeah. Right. Something like this, then. I'm just curious to see where the center of mass is. So I'm gonna hold the block over where the center of mass is. We're gonna do arm refit. We're gonna take metal 23 to heavy armor main. Okay, let's go. Refitted. Our center of mass shifted kind of like 5 meters or something. Not that bad. The cost is 1.964, so not that bad either. I think this is going to be pretty worth it, because here in the front we have an armor class of 71. So if the enemy optimizes, say, an APS shell to deal damage to stacked metal with 48 damage, we're basically taking, I don't know, is that like 60% of the damage or something like that? So it's a pretty good reduction like that. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with this with our nice little boost here. Huh? Well, that's cool. Yeah, I really wanted to have my funny guns there, but I kind of realized they're gonna suck so hard. What can we do, man? Also, another reason we're that a rotary cram cannon accidentally shot ourselves too many times, and I had to even customize the breadboard to not make it shoot. Like, the fire delay timer got collided with the circuit for the rotary cram system, and anyways, it was a mess. Shit, I just realized one of our biggest main engines, exhaust, is actually blocked. I tried to be so careful not blocking their exhausts, and I did anyways. That's you know, you have to really double check things and then triple check them, and then check them some extra times when you're getting closer to finished, because otherwise you are going to forget stuff like this. Oh well. Well, I have been building some on the guns, which we have added to the side here. These are pretty expensive railguns, but they do provide a pretty neat damage. We're gonna look at them on the platform in a second. Then we have this little missile thing here. We have a single large missile. Before we had two, but it was too expensive. I had to keep it within the cost limit. And yeah, that's basically where we're at. I have then also added some cool decorations, making it look a little bit better, and that we will look at in a moment. But first, we're going to take a deeper look at these guns. This missile, however, is pretty, I mean, it's like this is just a placeholder missile. We'll see what we end up with exactly. It will be a little bit to the cost, because yeah. Let's look at the gun first. Yeah, so here we are at the platform. Let's activate this thing and set it to minimum. We're going to activate the podium. That's right there on the central platform, and then we're gonna set it to 5 as well. But wait, this gun is actually sticking up a little bit. Anyways, it's the Ruta KK Yumi Type B2 90mm anti-air railgun. That is the gun, and it is a 3x3 turret. It is actually a deck gun, which is pretty unusual for this type of thing. And now I also realized that the target is a little bit too... We should have left this at 7. Anyways, it has a dual barrel system, and I'm gonna get my HUD back so we can take a little look. Yumi, of course, means bow in Japanese. The Ruta KK is imaginary Japanese company, you know. All of my prefabs and stuff and sub-objects have name like Delta Corp, Fort SA, and stuff like that. Anyways, this is then the gun. It has pretty minimal armor actually. It's should probably be more heavily armored. It does cost 80,000 after all, but I wanted a neat little deck gun that can be used as, you know, both anti-air and something else. You know, I am so incredibly lazy. I just realized, why don't I have a gun with a ammo on it? So this is the rail sandblast. I need to look, what the hell did I put as this? It's just an 11 part thing. Okay, I'm gonna make a version of this shell that is just on the gun. That's how lazy I am. Right, something like this. It's just to see it is a 90mm. We're gonna see if it fits. Now this is a 12 part thing, so we're basically gonna have a railgun casing and basically put it to kind of 0. Oh, look at that. Oh, right, we have a visible tracer on this one too. Right. So we need a visible tracer. And then we can, yeah. Guess I want this onyx watch color. Right, so then we can modify the rail charge to make it be just under 1 meter. This is a belt-fed system with a lot of loaders. So this is actually not exactly the same ammo. It's very similar though. It's extremely similar. Yeah, so if we just go to this view, you can see what the gun actually contains. It is thus a, well, it's a system with a lot of belt feds, and thus it has a lot of ammo intake, so it doesn't have too much of a downtime. Pretty handy. And then we can assign this to all, and this to all. Very handy. Oh, we should rename this something like 90mm AOG de Sabot. Very nice. Right, so hopefully this now has the same amount of rail use. Yeah, it has higher production than it has rail use. Well, isn't that fantastic? Why? Never mind, it's fine. It's fine. So, here we have the system. It is a very interesting type. If we set this game to very low speed, you can see that when we're firing this, we're basically firing a swarm. So that was actually 2000 RPM. And the shells, as you can see, they penetrate pretty deep. They basically fire in a swarm. That's basically how they do. And if we just see the capacity go up a little bit here, we can actually speed up. So it fires this type of swarm. We're gonna fire it in slow speed again, just so you can see, just like that. Often the shells kind of land at the same place, making them penetrate pretty deep. And if we look at this in like full speed, you can see how it looks. Just like that. The sound effect doesn't really work well with this, but you know, it works pretty well. It does decent damage. 90mm shells. You can see if we look at, yeah, if we just check the shell here, it goes at 1,800 meters per second, so it's pretty fast. And if we see, it basically uses, yeah, it uses its max speed. So it has an armor piercing value of like 80, and it deals 3,000 damage per piece. So it basically deals a lot of damage, you know. It can take out a lot of blocks by basically any 4-meter beam except heavy armor. And if more than one shell hits at one spot, it can of course kill heavy armor blocks too. And you can see it's pretty fast at taking out these, like, what is it? Yeah, these things, ducts. And this is the new railgun update in alpha, so yeah, I'll have to wait for it to come out to official. branch, which probably is when you're seeing this video, but when I'm building this, we're still in Railgun Update Alpha. So this is probably my first proper railgun building this, except the burst railgun thing, the Alpha Striker. I don't know. Anyways, let's look at the finished, nice looking thing. By the way, I noticed you can put spinny bits here when you have them on railguns like this. Doesn't that look pretty cool? I think it looks pretty cool. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to look at the finalized deco ship version. Here you can see I chose a pretty interesting front here, switching the material or like the paint of the heavy armor to really make it look blade-like, pretty sharp in the front like this. We have the Army of GMODISM, sort of the Ecclesiarch emblem here. I haven't quite decided if it's gonna go in the Army of GMODISM, sort of the Ecclesiarch fleet per se, or if it should also be in the Holy Metropolis Protector fleet. I feel this is a very Spec Ops vehicle that is being called upon by me personally when taking care of some sensitive affairs. That is, some scary foes appearing. Yeah, well, in any case, we've added those emblem. It looks much nicer. We added some cool paint here and there, a large emblem there, some bolts, you know, making it look generally more cool, in my opinion. I don't know what you think. Maybe you think it looks ass. Tell me in the comments. It is very much a front-sider. And I don't know, did I show you the interiors here? I think I didn't. We have some pretty basic interiors here, but yeah, you can at least walk up here to the bridge. So we have a sort of a bridge area. Not the most heavy deco build, but I wanted to have it a little bit nice looking. Yeah, that's basically the look of it right now. I have been testing it out a little bit against the Singularity. Not the full battle, so I don't know the full winner yet, but it's pretty even. It's pretty even, and that's good, because the new Singularity is no joke, man. Yeah, the huge missile that is being fired from below the ship, it's a little bit wonky. I may replace this. I'll need to do some more testings, battle testings and stuff, doing some upgrades, see if we can swap around some armor components, or we see like this, but it's starting to be pretty finished, which you probably know if you look at the video progression. But yeah, future GMODISM, Eric will change some things and then record his results and present them to you in a second. Anyways. 5 hours of battle testing later, we have the Army of GMODISM, Sword of the Ecclesiarch, Magnus Gladius Battleship, and it's complete. So we basically moved around some armor. Also, during this time, the official release of the Railgun update has been out. So now these guns are, you know, officially added. We also had some side guns here, and these have been replaced with basically spam packs. We fine-tuned the weapon systems, fine-tuned the computers of all the cannons that didn't really hit very much, so that they now aim in a way that they do hit. We also added a little lamps node here in the front to be able to take on some early on barrages, because I realized that these guys actually basically only went for shells that came to the side of the ship and really not the front of the ship, despite the range being set to like 1,000 meters. I also decreased the focus of the packs to increase damage output, because it turned out that they were actually dealing, you know, much more damage with less focus, and they were already hitting like 96%, and I mean that's good, but really when I tested this in combat at long range at like 4,000 meters, they always still hit, and it felt like, man, they may be too accurate at the cost of firepower. We have also tuned this missile a little bit so that it doesn't fail, And I basically just ran it through multiple times of combat. You know, it has been facing the Megalodon, the new version of the Singularity, and all that so many times. It's silly. So we basically added armor at specific places. It was really funny. One time it actually got damaged and got shot through right here. And the AI was shot, so I added some extra armor protection there. Yeah, well, in any case, we have fine-tuned this thing a lot and added heavy armor and stuff all over the place, so it's much better. And when you're watching this video, you actually already have seen it in combat, because yesterday, if you're watching this the day this video came out, so the day previously, this actually faced in the official GimLe tournament. And I think we should be. I'm just gonna show you in the background here. Let's just spawn a stronghold for the fun of it, so you can see how it performs. All right. And there we go. So the stronghold is obviously, it's representing the GimLe. It hasn't really met the GimLe class as of yet, and you need to write in the comment section what ships you want the Magnus Gladius to be pitched up against, so we can test it against whatever ships you want to see it fight. It's of course gonna continue in the GimLe tournament, and if you want to know how that battle went, if it could defeat one of GimLe's old foes or not, well, if you don't already know that, you need to check out that video. But we will have some extra battles, like I want to pitch it against the GimLe class, at least the Mark III. But do write some famous ships you want this to face, and that will be very fun to see. But you can see it's quite the powerful vessel. It bobs up and down like this. It tries to keep its distance, and yeah, when we upgraded those guns, it's just so much more scary. The firepower of this thing is like 1100. Yeah, basically cost 2.2 million. It's mostly plasma and then APS. A surprisingly little firepower of particle cannons, but they are so expensive, so that's not so strange perhaps. But you can see it's all its 6 different aiming cores with a plasma shooting at different points instantaneously like this. Really spreads out the damage and hurts turrets. And they all aim over the water surface, and this is of course intentional. And when we have slow APS shells coming in here like this, we are evading, dodging so many of them. Yeah. So this is a little bit of a min-maxed build perhaps, but I really hope you enjoyed looking at this ship being built from like the entire process basically. And we even have the nice little interior here with a real book you can read. Whoops, that's not supposed to happen. Oh well, I guess we got up on the parapets or whatever that's called. Yes. We should be able to get up to the cockpit area. Walking in from the depth is so ass. Anyways, we are up here, so we can have a beautiful view over the battle, over the flags. Limited visibility, but hey, we see the important things, which is of course the glorious emblem of the army of GMODISM. That's the important things to look for. Well, there you have it. The Magnus Gladius is complete, and when you're watching this video, you can actually download this on Steam Workshop. So go ahead on the Steam Workshop, download this, and give it a cool rating so other people can see it on the launch screen as well. That would be really cool.
In any case, I hope you enjoyed this process. Thanks a lot for watching, and big thanks to all of the supporters of the army of GMODISM, Commodore the All-Around Gamer, Commander Ali, Ben Wilkie, Cameron Dixon, Sven van der Velde, Lieutenants Anto, Cravey, Daniel Saikin, Owen, Parbagreed, Vincent Veritas, Volkite, Scooby Rocks, and lately joined Christian Coe. Also, huge thanks to everyone in the Ecclesiarchy of GMODISM and the government of GMODISM as well. And on other news, I'm actually writing up / getting help also to write up a Hall of Fame, which will be on gmodism.com later, where basically all of the winners of the challenges we ever held will be publicly displayed. Isn't that glorious? In any case, what is glorious is definitely the Magnus Gladius. Isn't that very cool? Yeah, I'll see you next time. I should stop rambling. This is your host, Eric, and I'm signing out.